We'll call to order this meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Today is Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. It is 9:06 a.m. We do have a quorum, and if one of you gentlemen would like to begin with the motions real quick, we'll get to the public comment period.
I'll make a motion that we review and waive the reading of the November 15th, 2023 minutes.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon a review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the estate and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of invoices as submitted by various departmental offices, the Commission will take the appropriate action as deemed necessary.
Did we skip one?
Oh,
No, you're good.
check the
That motion is on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon submission of the budget revisions received from the elected officials and department heads, the Commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
And that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. That being said, we are now at our public comment period. We are joined here this morning by representatives of the Nicholas County High School Band and band boosters. And give you all the floor. Glad to have you this morning.
Thank you. I was unaware until 20 minutes ago that I would be expected to say something. But we just want to thank you for your contribution for our new uniforms. We have a student here with the uniform so you can see what we're going for.
Oh, that's nice.
Absolutely.
Stand up.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Absolutely.
It's our current uniforms are going on, they'll be about 11 years old, starting with the next school year, and they're starting to really show the wear and tear. I mean, they've been used hard. So it's time for us to invest in something new, and
Nice.
this is the one we've chosen. So
Very good.
we appreciate all the help you can get.
If you could face the camera there for a second, that'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, they look nice. Appreciate you.
And then on behalf of the commission and Commissioner Chapman, with the school being in his district, we'll present you with that. Glad to see it go towards it.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
sir.
what you do with the kids there. Absolutely. I was a band kid there too under Mr. Akers, so
Oh, yeah.
I could attest he does a good job.
That was 2 sets of uniforms ago.
Very good. We have a few minutes before the next appointment, so we'll go off the record. While we're waiting on that, this is the time period for the estate of Troy Kelly, file number 10240. It is on the agenda that no action has been taken since representative was appointed. We're waiting for a call here. Yes, is this Mr. Crane? Okay, I'm going to put you on speaker. This is Commissioner Garrett Cole. We have the whole commission here, and we'll let everybody in the room will announce their name here shortly, okay? Thank you. And Mr. Crane, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm in color.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so that being said, we have via phone attorney Kevin Crane attending for his client James Robert Kelly.
Uh-oh, gotta pick it up there. Oh, yeah, hello.
Okay, we seem to be having technical difficulties. Go get his number from me.
Radio.
Let me just call you on my cell phone. There's something wrong with our phone lines here. We're gonna have to get fixed.
I have,
Hold on just 1 second.
I have his number,
Okay,
614-224-7193.
yes sir, yes sir. Looking off an iPhone.
He gets into me.
Good morning, Kiki Adrian's on Crane. Can I help you?
Yes, need to speak to Kevin Crane, please.
Sure, can I tell him who's calling?
Commissioner Garrett Cole of the Nicholas County Commission. He's in one of our hearings right now.
Oh, okay, you're part of the hearing. Okay, one moment.
Yes. Yes, sir. Can we hear clearly now?
Yes, that's great, much better.
Very good, very good. So again, this is Attorney Kevin A. Crane, attending for his client, James Robert Kelly. We also have in the room, if you'd state your name for the record, please, sir.
My name is Roger Williams, and I'm the administrator of the Troy Kelly estate.
Okay. And then, are you all here on this?
Yes.
Okay, and so we also have with us Sheriff William Nunley, and if you say your position in this, because I don't want to say it wrong.
Shannon Bales, Chief Legal Secretary.
Thank you. I wasn't sure in this round what to say. But either way, we also have Miss Brandy from the county clerk's office. Mr. Crane and Mr. Williams, if you'd both please, we're going to go on the honor system here with you, Mr. Crane, but if you would please raise your right hand.
Yeah.
There we go. Do you and each, and if you would raise your right hand also, please, sorry. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that in the matter now in hearing, your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do, sir.
Very good. Okay, Brandy, if you'd give us a quick rundown here, and then we can begin. Thank you.
All right, on or about October.
And again, Mr. Crane, Brandy is from the county clerk's office.
County clerk, okay, thank you.
Can I have a copy of what she's delivered to you all?
Okay.
I may already have it.
It's just a matter of
Okay,
hearing.
on or about October 18th, our office received a letter from Simons and Coleman's Funeral Home stating that there's an unpaid claim against the estate that was filed on April 7th, 2022. And they had concern because the estate, or the administrator of the estate has been bonded for $350,000, and it would appear that there's sufficient assets to pay the outstanding claim. At this time, we have not received an appraisal yet on the estate or anything further since the administrator was appointed. And I'm not sure if the bond is still in effect, because we haven't received anything showing that the bond has been renewed since the first time that he came in to be appointed.
Okay. And would you all want to speak before we begin? Just to.
I believe Mr. Tucker may have also corresponded.
Yes, I wrote a letter, which is attached to the back. It was dated November 14, 2023, to Mr. Williams, advising him that of the claim by Simons Coleman, their desire that a claim be made against his bond. I suggested that he provide the commission with an appraisal and at least a partial accounting as to what happened to the funds in the 2 years that he's been the administrator. And I guess that's what he's here to do today.
So I basically, someone in the family reached out to the sheriff's office for assistance in this matter, and I was able to track down Mr. Crane and find out that he was, I guess, the guardian and or conservator for the heir to this estate. And it's my understanding that they regularly take care of estates and things like that for their clients. So I thought it prudent to contact them and let them be a part of this, since we're trying to get this estate settled and get this money to this heir who is a disabled veteran, and nothing has happened in 2 years, and he has, from what I understand, mental deficiency. He's not able to take care of things like this for himself. And I know if I had a family member that passed away and there was money out there, 2 years is a long time to wait to get your inheritance. So I just feel like, considering there is a claim and there is an heir that's waiting for money, that maybe, something needs to happen today. We need to move forward with this, especially since there's been no communication from the administrator with the county clerk's office. And as Randy stated, we don't even know if the bond is still in effect because that's not been updated with them either.
Mr. Crane, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I would just add that, yeah, my ward, James Kelly, is a Navy veteran, and he lived in a, sort of a group home setting in Jackson, Ohio, for a while. He became confused, and I volunteered to take on the guardianship, without, he needs assets in a big way. He's indigent, and he just barely gets by with a partial benefit he receives from the VA and a Social Security check. So he could really use inheritance. I knew nothing about it until Ms. Brown contacted me, and to say we were surprised and elated is short stating it, but anyway, he could really use some money as soon as possible.
Just for further background, Sheriff, were you not the conservator for the deceased? And that you turned over a substantial amount of money? How much was that? Randy, I don't remember. Randy, do you know?
There's records in the file, in the front of the file, into the front, are what came from the sheriff's office as to what the deceased had at the time of his death in bank.
Does 173,000 sound right?
I
It
think there's
does.
several
Okay.
other ones. I think there's more than one statement perhaps there,
$200.
like some different accounts.
Oh, I see.
In addition to real estate and personal property.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Williams, if you'd like to make your case, please.
Well, pursuant to Mr. Tucker's letter, here is a copy of the check and a receipt from the funeral home. If you look, beyond the receipt, you'll see that there is a statement of account dated 10/31, and I don't think I've received the most recent one, which would have been for November. And it shows there's $171,000 in the account. In reality, by now, I think that nearly $6,000 has come out. So there's going to be $165,203.41 still in the account. And you'll also see on the back of that where I have purchased the bond, and the bond's in effect for $350,000. I would guess that the bond's a little high, but I was trying to be conservative and safe. And I also have an appraisement of the estate here. And I'll tell you that the bank account is the thing that's probably the biggest. And the other things that are on here is the property, and the property is a little bit of a problem. It's not a little bit of a problem, it's not a problem at all. But the deed, which was prepared by Mr. Bischoff here back in 2000, indicates that the property was sold to Troy R. Kelly and Mona G. Kelly. But it does not indicate whether or not it was with rights of survivorship. So that tells me that it's not with rights of survivorship. So I'm believing that 2/5 of that real property belongs to his son Robert. James Robert Kelly. So the property's gonna have to be sold. To complicate things, Mrs. Kelly has since passed away. And there were things taken from the house before I became the administrator, and she boxed up documents and papers and went to her son's house, who I was in contact with for a while. But Mrs. Kelly became upset with her son and moved to her daughter's house, who pretty much cut off everything, any communication, and then said, I believe that she had perhaps somehow got into whatever coffers there are, certainly not this one account, but if there were other accounts. I think he had a retirement account that she actually closed out. That was not this account. And criminal investigation was initiated against Mrs. Kelly's daughter, not Mr. Kelly's daughter. And I talked to the law enforcement agencies in Ohio, and they said that they weren't going to go forward with it today. Frankly, I think it was too much of a paper chase for them. And Mrs. Kelly was promptly put into a nursing home, and that's where she died in Ohio. Now, I think maybe the daughter has any other documents and paperwork. And I think that she might even have keys to the vehicles and all that. I went in and changed the locks on all the buildings and the house, and I didn't do it. I hired a locksmith from here to do it. And I have 3 outstanding bills that amount to $240 that I have to pay that I've been sent by the sheriff. And the utilities have been turned off. The insurance company won't insure the house because it's vacant. I have, you have the appraisement? Okay. The big ticket items, I believe, is not the house. I think the house is probably, I think Mr. Kelly's interest in the house, since it wasn't with a right of survivorship, is maybe $50,000. And I think that the rest of it is the estate of Mrs. Kelly. Also, I'll tell you that there was an antique Ford. It's a Model A or a Model T, and I just frankly guessed that it was worth $40,000. It's not in the best of shape. It is indoors and it's locked. There was a Ford truck, a John Deere tractor, and Mr. Kelly had this big shed full of handy tools, and some of them are hand tools, some of them are electrical tools. I think there's probably air tools, pneumatic tools there. So he has that, and I think that's probably the big things right there. I put his personal property at $100,000. I think that the Mona Kelly's estate and James Robert Kelly are the only heirs. Of course, nobody's filed to become Mona Kelly's administrator, and she did not have a will. If she did, she didn't tell me about it. I got involved in all this because Mona Kelly hired me to help Mr. Kelly become Medicaid eligible. And he hired an attorney who fought it tooth and nail. And, you know, he didn't want he first of all, he didn't think Mr. Kelly was, lacked legal capacity. And secondly, he thought that, and Mr. Kelly directed him, I'm sure, to not give Mrs. Kelly a penny. Mr. Kelly was a coal miner, and from what I can tell, he saved every penny. So, you know, from what I can see, in this estate, it looks like Mrs. Kelly gets Mrs. Kelly's estate gets 3/5, and the son gets 2/5. That's my understanding.
If she died intestate, I haven't looked at the deeds, if she died intestate, why is it not split 50-50 between the son and the
Well,
three?
there's 3 children that weren't Mr. Kelly's.
Okay, but they get half, and he gets half.
The son.
I haven't looked at the deeds, and I haven't,
I think they all get an equal share. No, he'll get half, and the children will get the
Yes,
other.
but
That's right, that's exactly right.
yes, but as an administrator, you don't have, part of your responsibilities don't include, other than reporting the real estate, anything to do with real estate. You know, that would be, well, even unless it's in the will, an executor's responsibility.
Well,
But under the statute, the statute doesn't give you the authority over the real estate.
if the real estate's to be divided, who's gonna do that?
The gentleman on the phone.
Because he represents Mr. Kelly. And, you know, may I speak to Mr. Crane?
Sure.
Mr. Crane?
Yes,
Mr. Crane, this is Roger Williams. We spoke earlier.
yes, I'm Roger.
Sir, you know, everybody is going on the honor system here, and I certainly believe that you're an honorable man. The only thing I would ask, is it possible to get a copy of the appointment as your ward's guardian and conservator? Is that something that we could have just for the file? And
Yeah,
now, we talked about you becoming Mrs. Kelly's administrator of her estate. Is that something you can do as you are the guardian for her son? Or actually, for Mr. Kelly's son?
right. I mean, I'd be glad to help if I can. It's West Virginia real estate, or West Virginia estate, is that correct?
Her estate? I would think so. I mean, she resided with her daughter in Ohio and then a nursing home. But her property was here and she was buried here. She lived her entire life here.
So, I mean, we use what's called domiciliary. So, I suspect it may be an Ohio main estate and then an ancillary West Virginia estate, because there's West Virginia real estate. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's probably, yeah.
Yeah.
She was a resident of
I mean,
Howard
I'd be glad to help any way I can if that's necessary. Sure.
Well,
Obviously, we need some information, but, yeah.
well, I have been notified that I might be asked to, or actually fired as the administrator of the estate, and that won't be necessary. If they want me to go, I'll just withdraw and give everything I have to whoever wants it. If they want, if the commission wants me to stay, we won't have any more of these meetings, I promise you.
Well, the point of this meeting was to get something filed. And if nothing was filed, my recommendation to you was to remove him and appoint the sheriff. But if he's prepared to file his appraisal and move forward with closing his estate, I don't see any need to do that.
I agree.
Yeah, and he's got the appraisal.
Yes.
And, you know, there's a time
You
period.
take care of the lien.
My suggestion would be to let him file the appraisal and reset this for 60 days, or 60 days, probably 70 days, somewhere in there, to get through the claims process and see if there's any further claims. At that point, he would be ready to file a final settlement.
Can I ask?
It has already been published.
Should I ask?
Yes, so claims period is up.
Okay.
And could I just add that, Mr. Tucker, he doesn't need to sell the real estate, correct?
Correct.
He just needs
He
to,
has no authority to sell it.
exactly, right. So we don't have to take care of the real estate, everything just needs to be, the appraisement needs to be filed in the final settlement so that the property transfers into the names of the heirs.
Yes.
So, just to be clear then, you're telling me that the property, the personal property doesn't have to be sold or auctioned off or anything?
The personal property doesn't have to be sold. You have the authority under the statute to sell the personal property. You do not have the authority to sell real estate. But the personal property can only be sold to satisfy debts. If there's sufficient assets to satisfy debts, I don't think you can sell anything.
So, all right, well, that's fine. The only thing I would say, Mr. Tucker, is that, you know, the personal property that's here would be difficult, I think, to, well, maybe not. I mean, you just call somebody and have them come in and pack it up and deliver it to Mr. Crane.
If Mr. Crane represents the sole heir of this estate, between the two of you, you all could agree to sell it. I mean, I don't know how if he's incompetent, I don't know how that personal property would benefit him any.
I don't even.
But that's something that you could, I mean, that's really his responsibility as the conservator. He can authorize you to do that.
Pardon me, just for a moment, obviously, James Kelly has no need for any tools or any of that stuff. He does have a need for money. So if there was a way to liquidate this stuff in the estate, including the real estate, I think that'd be beneficial to this beneficiary, I'm sure.
The administrator has no authority to sell the real estate. He would have to seek circuit court approval.
Can he get authority somehow through the court? Or?
Well, if you're the guardian conservator in Ohio, see, in West Virginia, the guardian conservator also has no authority to sell real estate without circuit court approval. So it'd have to go to the circuit court. But I'm inclined to say that that would be the responsibility of the conservator.
Meaning me, the guardian?
Yes. I'm not familiar with how the Ohio law regarding guardian conservators are set up, but in West Virginia, the administrator has no authority without circuit court approval.
Right, and that would be the same here. We would need a court. Well, actually, a guardian has authority to liquidate personal property, but as a practical matter, I'm not sure how that would get accomplished. But it's more. I'm really more concerned with the real estate because I think I heard my ward, James Kelly, is going to inherit 2/3 of a parcel of real estate.
Half.
Mr. Tucker is advising you that it will be half.
My understanding, based on what I've heard today, is half.
Inherit half. Okay.
Who's paying the taxes?
Whole state in West Virginia obviously wouldn't be of any value to Kelly. So anyway, I'll follow whatever rules the commission puts out here.
Mr. Tucker, you asked who's paying the taxes. I paid the real estate taxes.
Okay. I wouldn't want to see those go delinquent.
They're not, I paid them for them.
And personal property on the vehicles.
Well,
They're probably not licensed.
they're not, and I haven't received anything. I've actually called the sheriff's office about the taxes, and I paid them every year.
I'm confident that the two attorneys could get together and agree for the sale, on the sale of the personal property. The real estate's a whole different matter. That's going to require circuit court approval.
And this Mona, she's not the mother of the guy he represents?
She is.
So it would be split differently.
Well, but his does not go to her other children. Mr. Troy Kelly's property does
Whose name
not.
was it in? Was it just in Troy Kelly's name?
Are you talking about the real estate?
Yes.
No, it's in both their names, but it doesn't say anything about right of survivorship.
So,
It doesn't talk about joint tenancy or tenants in common at all.
okay, so he died, it was in his and his wife's name. She had children by previous relationship.
Yes.
Okay, so he died.
So he'll have a little more than 50% in the real estate.
Yeah.
He'll have half from his father, and then he'll have a fraction from his mother that
Correct.
he splits with his siblings.
Yes.
Now, will that be on the final appraisement, or when will that actually be before us for review? Because of course, that's not in the appraisement there.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
When will these figures and stuff like that be,
Should be on the appraisal.
well, the breakdown that we're talking about here?
Should be on the appraisal.
I don't think I put it on the appraisal. I just listed the heirs.
Right. Yeah, because the only beneficiaries right now is Miss Mona Kelly and James Robert Kelly. Those other,
Did she predecease or he, which one died
No.
first?
Mr. Kelly did.
Mr. Kelly.
So, did Troy Kelly have any children outside of the marriage?
I'm told no.
Okay, so his interest went to her. So she owned it all, and she died with children from a previous relationship, and
And his son, and, yeah, that's my understanding.
that'll all have to be
Mr.
set out in
Frank.
appraisal.
Yeah. So Mona is not the mother of James Kelly, is that?
Now, I think she is.
Oh, you think that's his mother? Okay. Okay.
Do you know how old, do you know how old he is?
James Kelly, I thought it was 50, hang on, I got it right here. Yeah, the Mel James Kelly. No. And just a moment.
Well, let me suggest this, rather than take up the commission's time, these two attorneys have to get together and figure this out, file an accurate
He was
appraisal,
born in 1970.
and then do a final settlement.
Could you say your recommendation one more time? I apologize.
Yes, I mean, these two gentlemen are going to have to figure out what is actually in this gentleman's estate, file an accurate appraisal, give them 2 weeks or whatever, 30 days, whatever you think is appropriate to do that. Everyone has that's an heir or has a chance to object to that. If there's no objections, they can move forward to a final settlement. But
I'll
it's not something that.
30 days.
Yeah,
So, may I ask for some advice, Mr. Kelly?
Well,
I'm sorry,
Mr.
yeah.
Tucker, my-
Mr. Tucker?
You can ask, I'm their lawyer, so.
All right, well, where do I send the rest of the money in the checking account? If not, if
That's
there's
what
no
you
one,
gentlemen have to sort out who's.
so someone's gonna have to become her
Well, he's the
administrator.
No, if she died with other children, they're the heirs of her estate.
Yes, but the administrator of the heirs, I've talked to the children, none of them want to be the administrator of the estate.
Well, it's in Ohio,
It is.
and someone in the sheriff in the county in Ohio where she resided is going to have to be.
There we go. So, okay.
The gentleman on the phone can help you with that since he's licensed in Ohio.
Mr. Frank.
Put those two together.
So really, no action from us today? Or should we?
I would continue it for 30 days, let them file an
Okay.
accurate appraisal, and then move.
I'm sorry, a minute ago, he said 60 and then 70, and I was actually gonna ask for 90. We've got the holidays coming. I can,
No,
I can
it's
write-
been 2 years, no.
all right.
It has been 2 years.
And I think
It's
the
been 2
variance in
years.
dates was based on what we thought was gonna be
Yeah.
done. We thought
It's-
public filings were gonna have to be done, which they're
Yeah.
not, so that delineates a lot of it.
It's been 2 years with no contact.
Right,
Like,
that's
we
the
could have
concern.
been, if we would have been told any of these things, that would have been lovely. But we have not 30 days.
Well, would you like, I mean, I'll offer now to step down, if that's what you want. I'm not sure that the sheriff wants to deal with this.
I
Whatever
just
you
think
want
we'd like to
to
see paperwork in 30 days. I mean, that's.
Either way, there's gonna have to be a partial accounting file, so.
Correct, even if you step down and we're appointed, you still have to file the same things.
In 30 days.
Well, I recommend a continuance for 30 days on this file and be revisited at that time.
Are we coming back here to do it?
Do we
I
have
mean,
to?
you want us to appear here?
If you have everything filed before 30 days, I don't see any need to come back, but if you don't, then I think the commission would have to take some action at that point.
Okay.
But I think it's a situation where you can get with Mr. Crane and have these issues resolved and file an accurate appraisal.
Well, Mr. Crane, it sounds like you and I are becoming friends.
Right. Well, I'm glad to, Roger. I'm actually would love to talk to you right after the hearing if you can, if you have a minute, and then I can. Because I think I can help move this along pretty.
The ditch is not long, right?
Well, I have your phone number, and if you don't mind, I'll call you while I'm traveling.
Well, yeah, I was going to call you in there about 10 minutes.
All right.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Roger, what's your again?
304
Yeah.
542 2736.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
everybody. Happy holidays.
Thank you both. Can we have a motion on that for a recommendation of the 30-day continuance?
I'll make a motion.
Motion's on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Appreciate your all's time and hope to
Thank you.
see everything wrap up so y'all can move on to other things.
So,
Thank you all. Good day.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. There was a miscommunication on my part on the next agenda item concerning Legacy People's Place, and I would like to amend the agenda and make that an 11 o'clock appointment. They could make it by that time, they just could not make it by this time, and we are also behind significantly anyways. That being said, our next agenda appointment is Mr. Bob Johnson as the Ridgewood Airport Manager, coming for a funding consideration for the airport from the commission. So the floor is yours. And if you wouldn't mind to come up to the podium. Certainly. Thank you.
And our Vice President of the Airport Authority, Chuck Mallory, is here with me. He's an aircraft owner and aviator. Our commission president is recuperating from COVID and was unable to join us this morning. My request is terribly simple. We have a hangar at the airport that is deteriorated to the point where it's unsafe for use. It needs to be removed, and I'm here to request the replacement. We have a Quonset hut style hangar already in place that is in use with a tenant, but we would require approximately $26,000 to replace the destroyed existing hangar. That includes a sliding barn door style entry, and the provider is from the Pittsburgh area. And that is simply our request for the amount of approximately $26,000. The replacement of the existing hangar would then permit a modest revenue source each month for hangar rent.
Is it being used right now?
It is not.
Okay. Okay. Just the ones that are open are being used. Okay.
That's correct.
Is there any discussion on this?
I guess I have one, well, first, you're just giving us a verbal bid, we haven't seen anything. Number two, as you mentioned Pittsburgh, nobody from Pittsburgh pays Nicholas County taxes. So could you not find somebody locally? That's what I hate to see. I hate to see somebody come in here from another state or another county doing work in Nicholas County on Nicholas County taxpayers. So I'll tell you right now, the answer for me is no, from Pittsburgh. So the other thing is I sit on the airport board here. We have hangars. We're trying to put money in, and we actually own the airport here. So it's our first responsibility is to this airport because we simply own it. So I guess from my standpoint is bring us in solid numbers. Who uses the airport? How much it's used? Is there actually a need for it? Do you see what I'm saying? Do we need 2 airports in the county? So that's my questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberts?
I was actually trying to pull up an email that you'd sent recently. That's why I was over here digging adamantly for it. Okay, so it looks like a 40-foot by 30-foot by 16 was 25,000 plus shipping approximately, and then there was a 41 by 32 by 16 that was approximately 14,000 with free shipping.
We missed the opportunity for
On
that
that.
second. It was just one of those accidentally in stock things.
Right.
And we were unable to proceed with the $14,000 version.
So these figures and buildings that Commissioner Roberts is referring to, I mean, are they specifically hangars?
Yes.
Or are they like a pole barn construction, or?
It's the
It's a Quonset hut
Quonset style.
airplane hangar, specific to that purpose.
Yes, sir.
Understood.
And I guess for me, it'd be the same thing that I don't want to call them demands, the same request I made for the county airport, is I would want to see some sort of long-term initiative. In my time of knowing of the airport, in probably the past 6 or 7 years, I've known of a couple of flea markets that took place up there, and I don't know that there is an initiative that justifies the spending in the fact that there's long-term plans to attract and retain those hangars as rentals. Now, I understand that if you don't have something, you can't rent it out, that type of aspect. But the airport itself, I've not seen any substantial growth or anything on behalf other than just cutting some grass through volunteers. So it'd be hard for me to justify that spending. That's just mine. That's the same thing I came up with down here at the county airport, is show me some money, show me a long-term plan, show me how this is going to be a good long-term investment, other than like maybe a hobby aspect. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
How many planes are stored there now?
Only 2.
Are they airworthy? Are they just there in storage, or they actually fly?
They fly.
And all the certifications are up to date on the airport, right?
Yes, sir.
So certifications, I know the insurance paid, that when you came down the last time, the insurance paid. All the FAA, any sort of discrepancies that have been highlighted or that had been captured or addressed?
Just general maintenance kinds of things were cited on the last FAA inspection.
Okay, and have those been addressed?
They are being addressed.
Okay, so I know we had some like lineage and things like that on this end that we had to.
Some tree removal and odds and ends, things
Right.
like that on approaches.
Right. And that's kind of, I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from, is like, if this was the last buck in or the last dollar and everything else was taken care of, even hosting some fly-ins, showing I don't want to use the word need, but showing the validity of the airport itself. I mean, I haven't seen any aviation type of anything go on up there for the time that I've been around, other than I just went up and took a look one day. Literally anything showing that would be used. other than just, you know, so you said there's 2 currently? And is there a belief that you could have more?
Yes.
Because that's what we're actually battling at, you know, on our side, is, you know, trying to attract and have the folks in here. So that's what I would kind of look at. I know the
But
runway's
that's an
longer.
ongoing process
Yes, sir.
for us, of course.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents, about 28 cents.
Are they actually leased, the hangars?
Yes. Well, it's a monthly rental.
Do you have them under a lease?
Yes.
Just month to month?
Yes.
I know Mr. Chapman and I are working on a hangar lease now that we may be able to give to them to use,
Absolutely.
similar to what we're doing here.
And there is some hangar space available here too. If we get more planes in here, we get some FAA money, you know, so we rely on that, which if you guys could do that, that'd be great too. I did speak with a guy from Pennsylvania the other day that was actually flying in. He asked me where that airport was, showed it to me before flight, and he was gonna fly up and look at it. And he's a marketer for airports like fly-in campers, you know, people fly in and do that, and he'd probably be a good source, because we're gonna use him here for some stuff like that.
Yeah, we have considered doing, you know, camping spaces.
Yeah, he
for that
actually
style
did that
fly-in.
down in Raynell. His company built them a bathhouse, shower house, and everything in Raynell.
Wow.
So he may be even a source for somebody. So I'll get you a copy of his card that I happen to have.
Thank you
You
kindly,
can call him.
Commissioner.
And I think the ultimate goal we had spoke about behind the scenes a couple of times is making it kind of a joint venture where we don't have 2 airports sitting on their own, that we have, you know, a collaboration, for lack of better words. Literally collaborative efforts, and then, you know, if we can attain the FAA status on this end, that be, you know, we pull that in and show more assets, more runway space, a longer, I think it's like 700 foot longer up there or
I was
something.
gonna say, what is your
Yes, it is.
runway for 3,500?
Yeah, it's a few feet longer than
Great.
Summersville.
Great.
So we could even put small jets up there that we can't
Yes.
hear.
So it's
Well,
not-
and don't take this any other than just, I mean, we're looking, I mean, we
Yeah, it's a
have
pause
tasked.
button, not a stop button.
We've tasked, Summersville Airport, the county's airport, with a lot. Like, we took on that hangar for $10,000 from Yeager. I mean, we told them they had to fill it up, they're just about there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's, oh, it is full. So, I mean, you know, it's,
Yeah, we've made there's work.
but it's not that we won't help start doing those steps
Right.
either, but right, well, we gotta set waypoints or something, just like we did on them.
And at least have
Just
some
to build
shared
on that.
assets, like the airport manager, and then, you know, we've actually got, Lindsay's been writing grants, stuff like that, maybe we could look at something like that. So I said, to me, it's not a denial, it's a pause button at this point. And then if we could see some,
Probably need to have a meeting with the board and
yes,
Did you write that?
something, somehow.
DOT
some
grant?
group.
Yeah, it was just a request.
Okay, because.
Yeah, we got it.
They could, well, I knew we got it, but that's something they could probably get the money from something
Yeah, that's
like
what I
that,
was
too.
just thinking about. I've been taking
She'd be a good
notes.
source.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
we
she
need
got
to
us
let
a-
you have a meeting with Lindsay.
She got us
She's our
about
new grants coordinator.
$75,000, right, to upgrade our.
53 is what it was.
so that's, yes, we just wanna make sure that we're shifting efforts, not saying no. Yes,
And buy local.
And by law.
Nobody else wants it, huh?
if possible, if possible.
If possible.
If possible, that's right.
Well, in any event, thank you for your consideration.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The first step I would say is if you guys could make connection and see if we can get
Yes.
something rolling. This might just be hopefully a copy and paste, I know it's not that simple, and go right for the exact same grant, different address.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
And perhaps if you could even just notify us of your all's next airport meeting, we can try and come and
I usually get those, I'll
talk
forward
about the
them.
plan
Yep.
and so
And
forth.
and we have at least temporarily suspended meeting during the winter.
Yeah,
sure.
But yes, I'll keep the commissioner.
I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
If I,
Here's my
Oh,
card.
pleasure. Thank you.
when we finish the lease, I'll send it over to you so y'all can see if you want to mirror it.
Oh, that's it.
All right, that being said, we're now here at an approval. This is a mouthful, so bear with me. Approval of resolution authorizing a grant agreement between the Division of Administrative Services, Justice and Community Services, Section 24 COSAP 09, to expand and improve substance use and mental health treatment and peer recovery support services in Nicholas County for individuals suffering from one or more substance use disorders, grant amount $35,000.
Yes, and this is the one that we do annually.
Good job.
Okay.
And I do not have this in your documents, so you'll need
Okay.
to sign the top of that one too. I think you have all the rest of them. Oh, here they are.
Yes. Is there a motion to allow me to sign this agreement? Motion's on the floor, is there any discussion? Don't make me read it again, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
I was quite impressed. You didn't run out of breath there either. I feel like there should have been a period in there somewhere.
I've been working hard lately, working cardio back up. I'm assuming I can get a date for today, is that acceptable?
Yes.
So
Here's
this
the
one.
rest. There's a
Great.
lot.
Now, are you on this next one too?
Yes.
Okay, that's right. I'll sign this in 1 second. And of course, this grant is with the letter from the governor, just informing us about the $35,000 grant for this purpose. Again, as Ms. Brady mentioned, this is our yearly grant, but glad to see that come in the county. Now,
So to break that down real quick in layman's terms, this is salary money. to go
This
to
is
help out
salary
with
that
peer
pays for
recovery.
peer recovery support specialists. Yes,
Gotcha.
sir.
so that being said, we are also, I'll sign this as we discussed next, for the approval of award notice, 2 contracts, 2 checkoff lists of the grant requirements, a copy of the special conditions and assurances which were part of the original application, a copy of the mandatory reports from the West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority, and a checklist from the State Historic Preservation Office, grant amount $100,000. And of course, this is the West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority grant. We haven't got for a few years. Right there before I got elected, Commissioner Neal, Altizer, and Adkins received this grant and redid the roof, I believe, on the courthouse here, wasn't it? And the annex the year before or something like that. And finally, Nicholas County somehow worked our way back in, and we received this for the plumbing of the main courthouse here.
Woo-hoo.
Woo.
Worked hard on that one. I really wanted to see you guys get it.
So is there any discussion on this with the Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority grant?
These are just copies of those right
Lindsay,
I have originals.
do we take bids now?
After January, yeah.
So we need to figure out a scope of work.
Yes. Which we have a rough draft of the scope of work from the, where we did that originally, right, Lindsay? I mean,
Yes.
Something we can work off of. We probably need to review that next meeting. Yep. Before.
Yes, you have to advertise, like there's a list of stipulations before the.
Sure, but if we could review the,
Gator clips.
scope of work before it's published, that would be good, especially with Commissioner Chapman. And I can throw in a little bit, and I'm sure Commissioner Roberts can throw in a little bit. That being said, is there a motion to permit me to sign off on the West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority grant, the 21st cycle of this program, and the amount of $100,000 for the plumbing of the courthouse? You can let them fight over who got it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Now, here's your original here. I'm real good at hoarding documents, so I'll make sure we hand them back.
I think that's gonna raise a stink.
It's gonna cause some commotion for,
I just got,
I got it quickly. Garrett, go sign it like.
you're not.
Yeah. I'm
You
not
have to
in
the
the
right stars.
Mine's in the right place.
only for certain things.
You have to get there, I'm already there.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that? Sorry.
I have to do like the judge and then during commission comments, I have to have a joke every week.
It's gonna raise a stink because crap happens.
Right.
Oh my.
Yes.
To try to accommodate our schedule and get caught up here, I apologize for being a few minutes late, but we can go ahead and hear from Mr. Wayne Acord, representing Acorn Survey. This is concerning a quitclaim deed for an abandoned street in Summersville that adjoins a portion of some of the county's property here downtown. And so, Mr. Acorn, if you'd like to present that, please.
Yes,
Lindsay, would you say? Would you?
actually, this is a copy.
Do I initial?
Y'all can look around. This is the subdivision map that actually has the, I don't want to get in the way of anything. The street I'm trying to abandon is this street right here. It's called Grove Street here, but now it's Pike Street. And my office is sitting right on these two lots. I have a house here and Adam lives in it. He parks right here. This house is gone, but I bought these lots up to here off of Miss McClung, so I own on both sides of the alley. So anyhow, I wanted to block this off. I bought my office in 1984. This I bought in 91 and this 2014, I believe. But this has never been really used as a street since I've had it. But anyhow, this subdivision map is 1915. So, and it doesn't really join any of the county property.
Oh, okay, I apologize.
No.
It joins the road.
And actually, here's a, if you look, I won't pass these out, but the street is right here, and what is orange is what I have, and Scott Ellison is the one up past that.
Okay. So it's right here.
It's here.
Yeah.
And you already have everything in order?
Right there.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have everything in order?
Yes.
Even this parcel?
Yes.
Right here's what you're trying to do away with, right?
Right. And actually, if you start, pull that around this way. If you start on this side, Dale Jones owns these three lots. He signed the agreement already. Joe Whitlock owns these here, and he signed that. This joins the county from Joe. This side, Case Clark here owns where the car lot was. That's Jamie Thomas. He signed the agreement, or Scott Ellison owns where the Fisher used to be the building. So he owns that plus this lot. I own the one on the corner, plus my office is on this lot. My house is on this lot. And then this is the field, and then that's a little brick house. And Scott Ellison lives in a two-story house right here, but his son's name's on that one. So the county owns the rest of it. But that's the whole block of the subdivision.
What was that, 15 feet probably?
I think it was 18.
18.
Actually, the tax map shows it 15, but this here shows it 18 back in.
Either way,
Not
you're just taking a gap out in the middle of your property.
Right.
And not restricting any access to anybody.
This is the regular tax map, and it says 15 feet. So anyhow, Mr. Tucker over there suggested doing a deed to try to include everybody in the whole block. And I've got everybody to sign that except the county commission. And that's why I've got this appointment to try to get that done.
Because this property, this street shows up in a subdivision plat, it really doesn't affect anybody but Wayne. And let me back up. Several years ago, the city abandoned all unopened streets. And so this was not open, probably can't be opened at this point. So
Just cleaning up paperwork?
basically.
Yeah.
So, allow me to ask, did you prepare this deed?
I did.
So obviously you're satisfied with how it was prepared?
Oh, I think it was excellently prepared.
And the requirements of all the signatures have been met?
I believe they are. Obviously, Wayne says that
Okay.
he did do
Yeah,
that.
you can look at it. Everybody
okay.
signed it.
This really doesn't affect any of the county's property.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't deny access to anyone.
The only one I thought it might affect would be Joe Whitlock and Dale Jones, and Dale's the first one to sign it, which I thought was pretty good. That Joe signed it, but they're on the other,
Right.
they're on the other side of Pike Street anyhow. Nobody joins that little piece of right of way except the property that I have. And actually, I'd like to build a fence up there. I didn't want to put a fence on something I didn't really have title to.
Let's see. So yes, we do have Dale Jones, we do have Brenton Scott Ellison.
Brent moved to Scott's house.
Yeah.
It's in his
So,
name.
We have Jamie Thomas of Kate's Car Care. And Michael Scott Ellison. Scott Ellison.
That's the old Fisher
So
building.
these are.
Dale Jones is Jan.
This is
Yeah.
This road comes, and we actually have a fence built in the road.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna bring that up about that fence out there. But there is a fence already there where y'all built it for
Yes.
impoundment. And that's, I actually went over and kind of took into the section of that one street that goes up through there straight up. And that is my property too. But anyhow, that's, I'm not,
So all that we are abandoning, I'm not questioning you, but just clarifying, is this section here?
Correct.
We're not abandoning this?
Correct.
Okay. 'Cause
That's
I
what
think
the-
that has been.
Yeah, Wayne prepared survey.
There is a
that
point,
puts
So
that
it's
area.
just this, not that, is what I
yeah,
was
there
asking
is a
Greg.
plat in that deed also on the back of it. Did you see that?
No, I did not. Right here it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I find no issue on something like this. We don't have to have readings or anything. We can just vote on it. Okay.
You're not, actually, you're not even transferring real estate.
Right.
Yeah, you're,
So really, even just a motion to authorize me to sign the deed?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, man, that's what's like.
I'm sorry, I rescind my motion.
Motion.
Get that right, clerk. That being said, the motion is on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Patty, would you mind to step across the hall there and bring a notary over here, please? Whoever's available. Are you a notary? Never mind, Patty, I apologize. I got excited. Watch this work and then you can do that. Okay.
How does that affect like eggs or whatever? Nothing, right? Everything just stays the same?
they're all,
It's the same.
actually all the tags was in to start.
Yeah, so it's just switch right across.
Yeah.
So it's continuous. All right.
Yeah, everything's in.
If there was a different owner on the other side, like half would go one way and half
Yeah.
another. Okay.
Right.
Would you mind to use the sheriff?
Standing, so.
And Lindsay? We're back up to now. We're joined here this morning, once again, by Sheriff William Nunley, and also with the County Grant Coordinator, Ms. Lindsay Brady, and Chief Deputy Johnny Evans. And this is concerning home confinement.
Well, once again, good morning, Commission. I'll give you a copy of this. This is the home confinement
Thank you, sir.
requirements. So what I'd like to ask the Commission today, I'd like to ask for a position, another position with home confinement / DRC to assist with the home confinement program and the DRC program. And it would be split half and half is how that would work. If you look at the home confinement code, obviously who we choose, the judge would have to sign off on them to assist as a supervisor of the home confinement, which I can't see that being an issue, but I would propose that position, if the commission would allow it, would be half home confinement, it'd be obviously a 5-day week, to help supervise that program and the DRC to help with it. They will carry a firearm. So what I have in mind is we have a deputy retired. He's shown interest in it. So if we appoint him, he's already a certified officer. He just had to keep his certifications up according to the code to be able to do this. Of course, he'd also carry cuffs if anything goes on down there, if there's any issues.
Already on site.
Right, already on site. So what Lindsay and I had talked, we'll split the funds, half out of home confinement and then half out of DRC, since it's going to be a multi-purpose role. assist with both. I think it'd be a huge asset. Right now, we have 25 people in home confinement. I think you said you
We have about 60 people
About
down there
60
because
down
we
at
share
DRC.
ADC and FTC as well.
a lot of people without someone there during all the hours. Because right now we have Buddy, which is the chief. He'll still remain the chief home confinement supervisor. But he's not there all the time because of his multi-role down there and duties we have here where we're shorthanded. But I believe this would be a huge asset to the program. We've had civilian people in the home confinement program before, just not in this capacity. I did check with other counties. Other counties does this, works really well, and that's what they do. They hire retired officers to do it.
Would that affect his retirement any because it'd still be being paid?
No, he would be in the same retirement that you guys are in.
Instead of civil service, or what, is that right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
And then grants, I'm gonna be looking for grants also that would cover this. Hopefully we can find those. I have one actually in mind. It don't drop for another like 4 months.
So this role also, obviously, it probably would not start to around January 1. Is when this role would begin, we choose to do it.
And it could be a plus to us because it could help lower our jail bill.
Sure.
Absolutely,
Perhaps it's
absolutely.
dropping already.
Yeah.
Now, if something popped out, they would be a deputy sheriff still yet? Or?
They would not be a deputy
Okay, I didn't think
sheriff,
so.
but however, under the code, if you read right here, it's why I printed it out, they do have authorization and approval to address the issues with.
Right, as you mentioned, carry cuffs, concealed firearm.
Which is very important
What
for
about
us.
They have to go.
Sorry.
They have to
It's
go.
really important for our center to have a
Sure.
presence, down there because we're dealing with so many people and you never know what's gonna happen.
They still have to go and certify with their weapons with the deputies when they qualify, all of that stuff.
And that's a routine, like yearly, 5 years, something like that, right? It's not like one and done.
Oh, no, we do it biannually.
Okay.
So we do it twice a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do it twice a year.
They would only be on site. Something pops off in the county, they're not gonna.
No,
Oh, really?
because they'll no longer be a certified
I got you.
deputy. Well,
Okay.
they are a certified deputy as long as they keep their
Right.
qualifications up. They
Understood.
just won't be employed.
I got you.
as a
But the
certified
position-
deputy. Correct.
So it's full-time on site?
Will we
Yes,
have to provide a
full-time-
vehicle,
full-time
or will
on
they
site.
just come to work and
You know,
9 to 5?
That, I don't know. I know other counties I checked into as well. Some of them do provide a vehicle for home confinement checks, things like that, so they do have a vehicle. I don't know, that could be something that we could consider. I mean.
Well, maybe
obviously-
with that earmark coming on the 6 cruisers, one of your cruisers that aren't too old, maybe we can even repurpose.
Well,
Just restick
I
it.
did kick that around a little bit. I mean, we could probably, take one and, remove the striping, put, home confinement supervisor, or enforcement.
Plus Ernie's got 3. He's trying to.
Something like
Yeah.
that, but.
Slash
We're gonna
assessor.
have
Yeah, we'll just use his one.
vehicles. We're gonna have to come up from option. It's gonna be some of the really older ones. And be able to get rid of those, but, obviously, those funds, like we talked, when we go back into the county funds, from what we discussed
Right, the salaries and so
a
forth.
couple, 3 months ago.
Okay, so what do you need from us?
Well, obviously, the county would be the employer, so we need your authorization to do it, then we'd have to put it before the circuit judge to approve. And my take on it is the circuit judge is probably gonna have to approve who it is, would be my guess.
Can that person serve as, in a dual role as the bailiff?
That, I believe, ultimately is up to the circuit judge, but, possibly. I know other counties does have civilian bailiffs, but that would be completely up to a circuit judge.
I mean, you're probably a year away from having to have another bailiff, so.
Correct. Yeah.
I think as heavy as we're leaning to work on the jail bill and use home confinement as a resource, I think that plays right into the overall plan we have.
And that's what I've been brainstorming about this for a while,
Great.
and I just, me and Lindsay had a meeting a couple weeks ago, we talked about it, and, you know, let's try to do this, I think it'd be a good thing.
Two questions. Has there been any discussion with the DRC board? Is there any objection to it, or?
No, I have not discussed it with the DRC board. Me and Gary has talked about it and was like, oh, this would be amazing, and I do
So hopefully
believe
the
that the
board
board
is
is going to agree, yeah.
And then also, when we did the recent pay raises on law enforcement, how committed are we at home confinement for those? Do you think there's room enough to do this still, or I might need to look at other funding sources, or we have to amend that budget? I'm sorry.
That vote's going down to the.
Right. It's only half the position.
25 a year.
So we should be saving that.
I'll look that up, I believe we'll be fine there too.
Okay. Those are my only questions, but I mean, I'm all about it.
Which DRC, they're also fine.
Got a good grant writer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll bet she finds something.
I
Well,
bet
at the end of the day,
because I
right,
won't
nobody's
stop
gonna have to pay
until
for it.
Honestly.
Okay, I'll make a motion to take, let the sheriff, I'm sorry, Gary needs to do this.
Motion.
Clarify your motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the forward pursuant of installing a new probation officer down there, and I guess the 50-50 split of the salaries. Yep.
It's not probation.
Home confinement. I think that's what's done.
Then the Supreme Court pay for it.
Great.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Appreciate your all's time here this morning.
And I'll add, I will do a letter to the judge asking for approval for the position.
Yes.
And you would, the name, that way he'd have.
Yes.
Yep. Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Two versions, sir?
That's all I have today, Commissioners.
Appreciate it.
Very good. No,
Thank
appreciate
you, guys.
your
Y'all have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
sir.
Hey, Lynn,
Yes.
can you, look into grants for emergency shelters for generators, things like that?
Yeah.
See if you can find any money for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
Can you
you.
look at that before 11?
I'll try my best.
Yeah, just find some ideas, maybe. Thank you.
Okay.
No pressure. That being said, we're at the 10:20 appointment. And it's on the agenda for a consideration of a one-time cost of living adjustment. This is something the commission has done for the last couple of years here. Of course, we can't keep up like other governments around, like the city of Summersville, with the continual pay raises every single year. As long as the books are good, I think this is something we should consider.
I'll make a motion we do
Well, we need to talk numbers. I did discuss this with Clerk Painter, and last year we did $500, which would be a total amount of,
$29,270.
does that cover everybody?
That covers all General County.
Okay.
General County, assessor's evaluation, 911.
Okay.
All right, so $500, 3 times a year, a month, a week?
One time.
One time.
Per employee, one time.
Okay, and what did you say total was what?
$29,274 for General County. 2,300 plus assessor's valuation, 11,100, 911, $2,353 DRC.
Which totals the 20.
No,
Is that additional?
that's in addition to
The grant.
But that includes,
everybody.
it includes the $500 of the matching.
Right.
And the match.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out
Yeah.
where this odd number came from.
Yeah.
Should be some zeros at the end.
Yeah, right. No, that is covered in the match. So that being said, to clarify your motion, is it to approve the $500
Yes.
cost of living adjustment plus the taxes to where the X will come out whole? Did I say that good enough, Clerk Painter? That being said, the motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. That being said, we're almost on time. If you don't mind, we'll take one more break here real quick, and then we'll go to our next one. Okay, I apologize for the delay, but we're here now with Dr. Anita Stewart of the it says Summersville, but it's actually the Nicholas County Health Department. I apologize for that misprint. We'll amend the agenda accordingly, and the minutes, please. And first, we do have the introduction of the new Health Department Administrator.
Yeah. Is it all right if I sit and you'll come up there?
If you don't mind, just because these mics are not very
Sure.
far distant.
Right, well, I have great news. The Nicholas County Health Department is now what we consider fully staffed. And our last addition was the hire of Kim Major. As you guys are aware, Kim Major is local to this community, has been working diligently for the youth of Nicholas County in prevention, and now will continue doing some of that work with the local health department, along with continuing to move that forward as the chief health strategist for Nicholas County. So just again wanted to introduce Kim to everyone, or reintroduce as our newest hire and our new administrator. So thank you.
Okay. And not to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to say anything.
I just want to say I'm very excited to be a part of the team at the Nicholas County Health Department. It is a great team. Dr. Stewart is, she's fantastic to work with. She really, really cares about the citizens of Nicholas County. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that team and really serving the citizens of Nicholas County some more. Thank you.
We're thrilled.
Excited to have you. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. And then now we have with us Superintendent of Schools, Terrence Bean. And if you'd say your name and your position, I can't remember.
Michael Williams, Director of Attendance and Student Services.
Okay, and I apologize for not asking you before the meeting, but I appreciate that. And then we have Ms. Stewart here, Dr. Stewart, representing the Nicholas County Intervention Coalition and the Health Department concerning the presentation of a vape ordinance for Nicholas County.
Thank you for having us, and thank you to my colleagues for joining me. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening with vape-related products and the health-related consequences to vape products, particularly for minors. I did get some data from the West Virginia Poison Control Center. So in 2018, there was a health alert issued by the CDC, and West Virginia at that time had started tracking drug poisonings in citizens in West Virginia from vape-related products, particularly for the Delta-8 Kratom products. From January 1st of 2021 to January 31st of 2023, there were 81 reported incidents. 26% of those were children less than 6, 10% were children 6 to 19 years of age. Of those, 71%, almost 72% had to have hospital management, with 6 needing critical care and 10 being admitted to the regular floor. 53% of those cases, it was in the form of candy. So there's no, surprise that we're seeing drug poisonings in children related to these products. Some of the strategies to help reduce the use of these products in youth are to limit the distance of where the sales of these products are to youth-serving sites. So things like schools, parks, churches, community centers. And some of the trends across the United States and in West Virginia have been to implement ordinances to help restrict the distance of that. The other thing that we're seeing, and one of the reasons I asked our Board of Education to come, is that we are also seeing the increase in use of THC products and the cannabinoid products in our children. And so, not to put you on the spot, but I would like to have our superintendent, since he is here, to talk about not only the burden that that's causing for the school system, but also the risk that that's posing for our adolescents and youth, and to see that this is not, we're not protected from that in Nicholas County. I feel like there's a lot of well, this is not in my backyard, this is not happening here, but we certainly have numbers and evidence to show that it is happening here. And I know that this is a county that loves and wants to protect their children. And I think it's important that they know exactly what's happening here. So, Mr. Beam, if you would care to speak to that.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the county commission today. I did not expect to be speaking when I came today, but I'm glad to share some information with you. I became superintendent on July 1st, and of course I've been a Nicholas County resident my entire life, and I've seen this grow. When I was in Pocahontas County, we saw the same thing with vaping and things like that expanding in our schools. And what's really alarming is trickled down all the way to our younger children. We had a situation last year in Nicholas County where a third grader was caught with a vape. I mean, that's really sad that we have that young a child being influenced by these devices. Last year we had, in Nicholas County, there was over 40 expulsions due to vapes, and a lot of those was with THC in them. This year we have seen a reduction in that number so far. We have very few expulsions we've had to do. The kids are getting real creative on how they hide these things. I'm not convinced that the usage is down. I just think that we're not catching it as easily as we did in the past. Because we're limited on how closely we can search our students for these kind of things. You know, a rumor doesn't give you cause to be able to search a kid. So, you know, finding them, like I said, the kids are getting real creative on how they hide them. I'm not sure the usage is down, but we have not had as many come to us at the county level as far as expulsions go. But it is, I mean, a lot of the school systems, I know Nicholas was involved with this, with lawsuits, suing the e-cigarette companies, and we are receiving a reward for that, or an award for that, and so is most of the counties in the state joined in this lawsuit against Juul, which is one of the big e-cigarette companies. And so Kristen was sharing with me the other day the payoff that we'll be getting is spread out over a few years. But, you know, money's fine and all that. We can use that to try to do more prevention or to get detectors and kind of thing. But the problem still exists. You know, the kids are still doing it, and they're finding creative ways of hiding it. And that's the biggest problem that we're running into.
Great, thank you. Thank you. And I do also want to mention, just to kind of clear up any, this is not a safer alternative to tobacco use. So I just want to be, from a public health lens and a physician lens, it is not a safer alternative. And certainly in adolescence, we have seen, it's called a VALI, which is e-cigarette vaping lung injury, associated lung injury, and we're seeing that not only with the nicotine vape products, but anything that produces vapors. So we're seeing it also with the THC vape. So they are not immune to the lung injury that we're seeing, the popcorn lung that you've probably heard in the press. That's happening to our kids. So I'm presenting this ordinance for your review and then for legal counsel to review as a start to try to work together. We're working closely with the schools and with our local health educators and healthcare entities and youth-serving entities to do primary prevention, but this is a way to think about how you can use policy to really put other safeguards in place that you can't necessarily do with direct primary prevention. So.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
For Mr. Beam too. Like the vape, if you catch somebody vaping, do you treat that just like if you caught them smoking? Is that kind of the same rule?
Yes.
Okay, how do you tell that it has THC in it? Is there something to test it? Is there, or do you just know that one happens to have it?
Yeah, it has to be tested in order to determine if there's THC content. A lot of times we will suspend the child pending the results of the test and those kinds of things.
But it carries a little heavier.
Oh yeah, it becomes an expulsion.
And that's written into the state Board of Education policy.
It is.
Correct.
And if I remember correctly, out of 23 new folks that entered into the ALC at the end of last year, I was told 18 were vape related. Does that sound about right?
I'm sure that's very accurate,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Most of them
regardless,
were.
yeah.
And just as an example, to kind of elaborate on my point earlier, when we started school this year, we had 15 students in our ALC, now we have 2. And neither one of those are vape-related.
Gotcha. And that's one of the things, I mean, I definitely want to, I've tried to do a lot of research in the back, tried to do a lot of work on my own. I know that there were 3 folks or 3 businesses you could purchase vapes from. I'd approached 2 of them because I know for a fact they were selling underage kids because I had a digital receipt to my phone for one. So I actually caught one of my sons. The first store that I approached, because I hemmed him up and I said, where are you getting this stuff at? So the first one I approached just totally denied it. The second one I approached just basically said it's a parental problem. He said, the parents need to work with their kids, parents need to educate their kids. And I told him, I said, look, I'm not anti-vape. I'm anti-selling it to kids. I said, all I'm asking you to do is have your staff to card ID 100% just like they do for beer or anything else. And he said, I'll do the best I can. So that was basically an adamant denial of any responsibility for that. And like I said, my point to that is, and he said, what if somebody comes in, they're 21 years old, and they want to buy 10 of them? I said, sell them, that's a legal purchase. There's nothing you can do about that. You know what they're going to do with those vapes. They're going to take them and sell them to other kids. But I said, it's the illegal purchases that I'm worried about. And I mean, it was a purchase of 2, and I said, here's a digital receipt where my 17-year-old son purchased this at your establishment.
Is there a law currently?
There are, actually. Thanks for asking. There is, this is Senate Bill 220, and this is about support. So let me take a step back. So for nicotine and e-cigarettes, that's actually in West Virginia legislative code that they cannot sell to minors, and that there's fines, and that's actually in the ordinance.
Okay.
I put that in the ordinance. Last year during the legislative session, they it's called the Kratom bill. It's over the Commissioner of Agriculture is over that bill, and I have not only the bill but also the rules. But there are also fines for that, and that is actually under the age of 21 for that bill. And so here are those 2 things that
The owner of one told me that age was 12.
No, it's 21.
And that was the owner.
Dyslexic.
Hey, I was hoping that's what it was.
And these are the products that they consider the non-naturally occurring cannabinoids, so the synthetic cannabinoids that are considered in that.
So 7, 8, and 9 are all legal in the state of West Virginia, is that correct? Because I heard there was some work on 9 and 8. I guess that's where you get into the, closer to the real.
So they have to make sure, number one, it has to be under 0.3 as far as, because of our, the hemp rule. If it's under 0.3, it's okay. But by this new legislative rule, from what I understand, and again, I just got this yesterday, so I apologize for not having great background on it, but regardless, you cannot sell this to minors under 21.
Right. But I thought there was either further legislation trying to put some restrictions on even 8 and 9 to adults, like a controlled substance approach or something like that.
I haven't heard that they're making it scheduled.
Right.
But that's something that I think we could explore with our legislators. If we're seeing this as a problem, I think this is something we need to also be talking to them about. And we're lucky to have strong relationships with our representatives here and can certainly have these discussions.
And there were some concerns about the hemp industry. I'm not, how prominent is and I don't even mean like sales, but how popular or widespread is the hemp industry in the state of West Virginia? I don't know that.
I'm not certain of that yet.
But I guess there was some lobbying against some of the proposed legislation from the hemp industry. So, I mean,
There
once again,
was a large boom in it, not to get too sidetracked, but just real quick, there's a large boom in it. I was familiar with a number of people that I'm associates with or whatever that grew it, and they actually still have a barn full of it from 2019.
I guess my thing is I don't want to sacrifice the health and well-being of a child or even the legal aspect of attending school for profits.
And again, my stance is, it's not a safe substitute.
Correct.
However, I do think that my focus and the focus of the Nicholas Intervention Coalition and of course the Nicholas County Board of Education is to protect the health and well-being of our children and our future. And so, adults, we have free will here. Adults can, if they decide they want to go, then I can't, do much regarding that. But I do think we have an obligation to think about our kids. So if you guys would review that, our astute legal counsel could review that, and we can discuss potentially put this for the next meeting, just to keep things moving and what we can and cannot do.
You can look and see what's enforceable.
So, my understanding of Nicholas County, there has been an effort for many decades to try and enforce a county-wide zoning or to promote county-wide zoning, and that's never been enacted. And in order for the county to establish an ordinance that's county-wide, you would have to have gone through the process of the zoning laws. I had suggested that this same information go to municipalities like Richwood and Summersville, that obviously then leaves out any other unincorporated location. So for this body, in my opinion, to pass a county-wide ordinance, you would need to enact county-wide zoning.
So if we started with the municipalities, I mean, you're gonna target a lot of daycare schools and things like that. That would be, I mean, might be a good foothold.
I will offer you more research, but that's why we talked about it beforehand. So I'm offering you that as an opinion now, but that doesn't mean I won't help you with some research. But I do not believe you can pass a countywide ordinance as proposed. And I know we discussed that, so.
If that incorporates zoning, he's right. Also, the only ordinances you have the authority to enact is what the legislature gives you authority to enact. So we discussed that out there, and she can talk with the legislators about getting that authority separate and apart from zoning.
Now, so allow me to ask, because of course, let me find it here in the ordinance again, but there is the mention of they shall not be located within 5,280 feet of any other retailer of this sort, hospital, church, youth serving organization, child care centers, preschools, public schools. I'm not gonna read the whole list. Is that the zoning piece? Would it be possible for, not to diminish the value of that, but if we were to remove that portion and it would be strictly on down where
Based on penalties, the penalty portion?
yes, it's
I think your problem will be that you don't have the authority under the law, as I understand it, to enact a countywide rule restricting this type of business. Or any type of business, particularly.
So the mention here of the conditional use permit that the commission would issue, and I believe it says if they're within
Three violations.
3 violations in 5 years, it'd be revoked by the commission. That would still require the zoning aspect of it.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Okay.
So I think the biggest thing is that we see this as a big enough problem that we're willing to put some footwork into it, time into it, maybe with some creative problem solving and some work that we could at least maybe introduce it into the municipalities and go from there. I mean, at least it's a foothold and starting point. It's a huge problem. It's gonna, to me, it's just gonna escalate and it's gonna snowball.
Well, without making a complete record of what efforts law enforcement has made, they have been aware for years.
Right.
And I'm not going to name any particular places, but it has been on the radar for years.
Right.
So, but the legislative part of this that you handed out to us, there's already laws on the books that law.
So it would be similar to what they do in restaurants or anywhere it sells alcohol. They could do, for lack of a better term, a sting operation. But that requires manpower, and that's a state-driven, like the underage consumption of alcohol, that's a state-driven through.
So it's the same office that does the SINAR inspections, also is doing these inspections. Right now, they only have one person that, for the state. They're hoping to add people, but just like any other entity, working with hiring at the state, that takes time and seems like forever.
Well, and quite frankly, I don't know the profitability of this market and stuff like that, but I mean, this state code 16-9A-2, the first fine's $50, the second fine's 250, or I'm sorry, 500, and the third is 750. I mean, this is.
So you have to think about that. You gotta get in there once, right? You gotta have the
Yeah.
manpower to get a ticket, $50. then you'd have to keep that manpower, and we're talking now one county of 55 and the state issue. I just don't know how to put it.
And it also reads that, that the second offense has to occur within 2 years of the first. So, I mean, that's a 5-year plan.
Well, I'm not discouraging anyone and saying anything's impossible, but in law enforcement, that has been known I think we've known of it for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
I've been here since 17. I know there was some efforts back in 17 and 18. It's not easy.
So if we, so our first step may be go to Charleston and get the authority for us to do our own.
I will say, there is a lot of favor at pushing authority towards county commissions right now in our legislative body.
For local control, for
Yes.
sure. But I'm
Only funding.
offering that this county doesn't have zoning like other counties do, which could take, so you have to have your publications and public comment, but it's my understanding in Nicholas County, we don't have that ability.
So we would need to approach our legislators with some sort of child crisis and say, outside of the regular zoning laws, we need on the county the ability to regulate vape products and
That has to come through
cannabis weed or
legislative
whatever. Right.
Would this be a more attainable goal versus just, I mean, so we had a meeting with Speaker Hanshaw 3-4 weeks ago, and he had discussed that really no bill that's written after the middle of December probably even gets introduced. And so we're like days away. This is kind of for everybody, but especially our legal counsels here. Should we be looking for a variance on the commission being able to enact, counties to be able to enact this without zoning? Because a large portion of counties do not have zoning. We're one of many, versus just taking our initiatives direct and trying to get into statewide. Is your opinion one way or the other on that?
I do think that there's an appetite in other counties to, we're all having the same problems. All of the prevention organizations and health departments are looking at this. So I do think it's on the radar at a legislative level, but I don't know that they are keen to like the zoning complication. So I think that
Probably just due to lack of understanding.
Right, and so it might be as simple as they already have this proposal, like a bill drafted, we just need to add that language, like make sure that language is in there. So it might be as simple as having a discussion with them to say, is this coming, is there something in the works for this? This is something to consider at a county level of an obstacle that we have seen that might be something we can address here.
Well, I haven't seen your ordinance, but what are you wanting to do that's separate apart from 16-9A?
I think it's going to be restricted distances and then stronger punishments where you can revoke their license.
Yeah.
Well, all you need to do, I mean, rather than have the legislature give you the authority to enact, is just to amend the state statute. And then it will be statewide.
Fair enough.
So it'd be a larger impact if we get everybody together and just
trying to help.
make it in code.
You're also, you're still talking about enforcement, no matter where it comes from, the county or the state. There are mechanisms to enforce these rules in 16. But I'm trying to point out, like I'm not discouraging you again from trying to seek these remedies. It is an enforcement issue. You have manpower to
You can make
enforce
them 3 foot away, but if there's no enforcement aspect, there's no.
There's nobody out there with a measure.
Gotcha.
That's just what I'm offering.
Right.
Well, and perhaps, I mean, not to put the cart before the horse, but should this become to where it's possible for this commission, I mean, we are receiving, so the commission, if I, don't hold me to this, to my understanding, the Jewel settlement that Superintendent Bean mentioned, it was hardly anything to the county, but if the county was to step away, it would actually be more beneficial directly to the school system. I discussed that with the previous superintendent. I believe that's my understanding, so I don't think we're in that one, but of course we're in the opioid settlement. 50% of those funds have to be spent directly on the opiates. The other 50% does not. So that might be something we could consider down the road, should all this come to fruition, that we would have an overtime budget perhaps or something like that, and even make it available to the city and the county officers to at least set aside that certain amount of funding for that amount of time
the hard part's getting that child too.
So
You don't have a child
then you
who
have to
wants
have
walk in.
a.
Right.
Yeah.
We
I'm sorry.
You have to have
Okay.
participants, and I don't mean
Right.
law enforcement.
Right.
That's right, that's true. That is true.
And then you're risking, you're using underage people, that's probably not a good idea. I mean, you're just.
Yeah, ABC does it, because actually they tried to hire my son, and he was gonna do it for a point in time, but
Right,
a little
but those are
different.
18-year-olds.
Right, right.
Those are not
Now,
17-year-olds.
so the law here is 18 years old, right? The
Well,
current standing.
According to the Kratom legislation, it's 21.
So 18
But
for
the-
vapes and
But for
Delta is
vapes
21.
and for nicotine products, it's 18. There is a push for this session that they make it T21 to fall in line with federal legislation, because we're in jeopardy in West Virginia of losing federal funding if we don't get in line. But I'm not certain what the appetite of that is at a
And
state
when you
level.
say T21, you mean that raising the age to 21?
To 21, which has been introduced like for the past, since 2018, I believe, by the like smoking cessation lobby that we have and from the smoking, or the nicotine settlements. And it's been, there's not been a flavor for that. It's not passed.
And I think probably the reason they went 18 is as presented, and I mean, I think a lot of folks bought into it, is it was a lesser evil. So they thought if they could maybe capture them a little earlier, that they could help reduce smoking, and then it came out that, yes. Yeah, I think in 2014, they were looking at it, so there's almost 7 times the nicotine in some. So they're actually, the addiction was going higher. Research. So we had, I spoke with Commissioner Tincher, yesterday before everything went to Charleston, and we talked about a legislative meeting with our legislators, since we share senators. And if we did something like that, what we wanted to do was propose a few things before the legislature just came around of what we need and want. And if we had something like that, would you be willing to come and speak on that aspect of it?
Absolutely.
We need to do that like next week.
Yes, that's what we had talked about it a couple days ago, and we were trying to come up with
Because
where.
if you
and-
notice, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I just think mayors, commission, both delegates, both senators, county commissions on both ends, and then anybody else that we would identify that would be a good, valuable asset to present, especially specialties on something like this.
One good thing is, if you'll note, that in the Senate Bill 220 that we were presenting here this morning, includes our 2 senators, Woodrum and Deeds, Stewart, who I'm familiar with, Hamilton, which used to be one of our senators. So, 4 of the 6 introducers of this, I'm familiar with, and you all might be familiar with Senator Trump. I'm not as much as I'd like to be for this, but either way, we could maybe even pull in Senator Hamilton and Stewart into that too, instead of just our 2.
Right. And I think it's one of those, thank you for what you've done. Here's a little bit of tweaking that will help us out a lot. But like I say, post haste. Quickly.
Is that something you think you could handle, trying to coordinate something for the middle of next week?
I'll talk to you.
Is there any issue that you all know of right now from the superintendent, the health department,
I think locale and
prosecutor,
availability of
that
our
middle of next week might be a possibility?
Locale and availability of our legislators, I think we have two big sums. Would you guys be
Well,
opposed
they
to?
have interims next week,
Do you know what days?
Monday and Tuesday, or Sunday and Monday.
So maybe the end of next week?
So in essence of capturing and them, would you guys be opposed to Greenberg County?
Don't matter to me.
I mean, that way it's closer to home for those guys to just come up and ask me else.
Yeah.
So they'd have their 2 delegates, we'd have ours, we'd have both senators. Maybe let's say we could reach out to a couple more, just explain our.
Maybe some representatives of the interventional council on top of, of course, our delegates.
We just don't want to beat them to death, but have a designated speaker.
Yeah, but trying to bring everybody together.
Put that together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dr. Stewart,
Well, thank
for
you for
working so
having me.
hard on this.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're sorry that our prosecutor took the air out of it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think it
What was
was.
it Jim Justice said? It's my job to shoot holes in and make sure your plan is solid. Appreciate you.
Yes, no, that's right. Because if we do this, we need to do it right the first time.
Yeah, it's a fruitful discussion, and I think
Yes, it's a great starting
reassuring and exciting to me that we're on the same page and that we have a plan kind of moving forward of how to mitigate this. So, thank you for the time.
Steve, Lieutenant.
Hey, Mr. Rick.
Okay, we're here now with Brandy Brown, who is a deputy clerk of the Nicholas County Clerk's Office. And this is regarding the estate of Gerald Paul Tenney, file number 10453. And this is an update on this estate matter.
During our last hearing on November 15th, we were scheduled for an evidentiary hearing. Before the hearing, the parties had made an agreement, and they let us know that. Mr. Hara, who was the attorney for Miranda Brown, who raised the objection to the appraisal, stated that he would be withdrawing the motion, and that he would be sending that to our office. To date, I have not received it. So I'm asking if it would be possible for the commission to dismiss this so that we can move forward, because as you know, this began in January of last year. You all were going to hear it as fiduciary commissioners. I feel like it has drug on long enough, and we just need to get this matter settled as soon as possible.
As you recall, they announced on the record at the last meeting that they had settled everything.
Yes.
And that they were going to withdraw, so I have to see that issue at all with what Randy wants you to do.
Allow me just one moment, let's discuss this and then we pull up the minutes.
Yeah, because they did come in and announce that.
They've done it on the record. He should have filed it, and I'm sure he will. There's no point in leaving their file it.
Right, and we have already received, we received the final settlement back in January, which I'm assuming is what triggered the objection. But because there was only real estate on the appraisal, I would see no reason why we couldn't go ahead and close the estate.
And if somebody doesn't like it, they can move to reopen it.
Okay.
So just need a motion to close the estate?
No.
Yeah, in order.
Well, yeah, it'd be a motion to,
Accept the withdrawal of the complaint.
the oral motion by council to withdraw the objection and then accept the final settlement. Has the final settlement been provided, ever had the opportunity to object to it?
Yes, because I believe that's what triggered the
all that.
objection in January, was this final settlement.
Oh, okay.
So would we be able to go ahead and proceed with closing
Yes,
today?
assuming that they say it's okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm satisfied.
So make a motion to withdraw the oral, accept the oral withdrawal
Of the objection
of the objection.
filed by council,
Accept
council
the
Perry,
final statement.
and then close the estate.
Close the estate.
Well, you'd accept the final settlement, close the estate. What I said.
Yeah, ditto what Greg said with my voice.
Are you acceptable on that? Any questions on that? That motion is on the floor by Commissioner Roberts. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Thank you for your good work.
We'll move on to the next one.
That being said, allow me to attempt to contact Ms. Lawson. She is currently in a meeting with FEMA in Richwood. She needs to appear by phone if she is available. She is available, so. Hey, you are on speaker. Of course, this is myself and she knows me, and all three commissioners are present. Patty had to step out to an appointment. We have Clerk Painter here and all that. Do you have any paperwork on this we need to sign or anything?
Yes, there was one document, I emailed it yesterday, it's just a one-pager.
Okay, in worst case, if we don't have it here available, if you could send it to me. Is that, I know that's,
Yeah,
or did you already send that to us?
I just sent it straight to, I need Patty Giselle, so I sent it to Mary. Are you around in town or anything Friday?
Yes.
Okay, if you're not able to find it or something like that, I'll get with you Friday.
Okay.
To get together.
Okay, so yes, and for the record here, we have Cassandra Lawson, the Senior Project Specialist of Region 4 Planning and Development Council. This is concerning the Birch River PSD Mill Creek Waterline Extension Project with scope change number 1. And so I just wanted to read that on the record, and Ms. Lawson, if you wouldn't mind to please give us a rundown of what we're considering here this morning.
Yes, so as we have discussed previously, the bids for the project came in significantly under budget. So as a result, the PSD was able to achieve like authorization to utilize those additional funds to extend water service to an additional 15 customers. It increases the project by approximately 9,000 linear feet, and we do just have to have that amended, like as an addition to the scope for the purposes of the grant.
Okay, and so is this the one that adds 14 additional customers to the PSD?
Yeah, it extends it one out to actually 15 additional customers. So initially it was like 18, 19, and now it's going to be more like 33. It actually takes care of the whole second phase of the Mill Creek extension. So this was a really great opportunity for the community.
Wonderful. And there's no changes in financing costs or anything like that because of the bid coming in under budget?
Correct. Overall, the funding remains the same.
Just reallocation.
Are there any other questions? Is there a motion to approve scope change number 1 as explained?
Make a motion to approve scope change number 1 to the Birch River PSD Mill Creek Waterline Extension Project.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? And Ms. Lawson, I will let you know, it might be in our stack of paperwork to sign at the end of the meeting where she had to leave. So I'll let you know if we have it or not.
Yeah, and if not, that's okay. Like I said, if we can coordinate on Friday, we can get it knocked out then.
Okay, wonderful. That being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry, and we'll let you get back to your other meeting.
All right, you guys have a great meeting.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Good morning. Now, we have Farrell Griffin with us of the Levacy People's Place. This is at my request that we have our final consideration and decision on the generator request. We've kicked around for a few years trying to find ways to repurpose some from Homeland Security, and that just frankly has not been able to come to fruition. And of course, this is an emergency center in the county. Emergency shelter, I apologize. Of course, they do tons of fundraising on their own. They're a very self-sufficient group, but just have a large upgrade that they're wanting us to consider assisting them on here this morning. I did contact the Griffiths last week and requested some updated bids, and you have those with you.
I have one of them I couldn't get a hold of yesterday, and I got one from Children's Enterprises this week. It's quite a bit, not a whole lot of difference on there. Do you all have this copy?
We do.
Okay. See, that's the one from Children's. They're the original one, and this is the new one.
Okay.
This one here is from Lusk Electrical here in Summersville. He had two models, 24 and a 26 kW generator on his bid. If a person could, the 26 would be the best, but if you just put the generator in there and set it up like one of them has for the kitchen area, we have some of the freezers back in the main part of the school building, and I don't know whether it would serve that or not. Here's one more that's, he was supposed to email me some stuff yesterday, but he didn't get it done, from Alpha. It's for a real big hygiene, it's several $1,000. What a good.
That's for a 50 kW. Now, the 24, is that 24? That's a 48. There's 24. So the 24 kilowatt, it's one unit, and that's what you're saying might be
Better than the 12. See, up to
so the 24 would be sufficient, you believe? They believe?
I mean, I don't know what it would take to do the whole, because it's only going to be running while the power, power's off.
Right.
And you wouldn't have anything, only your freezers and stuff like that.
Now, does this work include the the tie-in to where these would be like a new circuit almost that would be.
According to Lusk's thing there, they do all the wiring and everything on it.
Okay. And it'll have a switch, I'm sure, if power goes out, it'll automatically kick. I mean, I guess the generator itself has that switch. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have time to get a hold of hardly anybody, because, you all just got a hold of me last week.
Right. No, I appreciate you doing that.
All the stuff going on over there takes a lot of time.
Sure.
You wanna talk about what you?
Yeah, so first off, I think we would look at partial versus full building. So I mean, I definitely understand that that building could serve as a shelter.
It is one of our shelters,
It could serve as a lot of things. And in my mind, if we looked at it, there should be some grant funding up to it. Because, if we're providing as a shelter, not, just like a senior center or a people's place type thing. So it seems to me that we should be able to get some sort of like a Red Cross or emergency type of funding for that, even if it isn't a reimbursement aspect.
Which we did contact our grant writer to look into it.
So
The only one that she believes we would be eligible for is one through FEMA. And this year's funding cycle actually did just close. So it would be fall of next year. Let's see if I can read anything else on this. She just sent it to me. But the 24 kilowatt would run what you need for the critical.
It should, Garrett, because, we have the freezer stuff, and that thing would be working, that's all we'd be running on there.
And all your appliances are gas, right in the kitchen. Like the stoves and stuff like that, so you don't need coverage on those.
No. I think there's 11 freezers in the kitchen area, plus up in the main part of the school, we have, 3 or 4 freezers up in that part. The rest of them are down there for the kitchen area where you all been down there.
And those are fully stocked most of the time, aren't
We have a lot of stuff from the food bank that's put in there.
And with the utmost respect to our grant coordinator, because I'm sure she could get this grant, we kicked this can down the road, I believe, 3 to 4 years. And it's my total recommendation, we approve the lowest of these 24 kilowatt generators today to bring into this project. They've done everything we've asked for. We were going to look for grants, and we really haven't yet. And of course, we just missed that deadline. And also, we tried to find anything at the 911 we could, and we couldn't. And it'd be my recommendation to approve the lowest of the 24 out of Cole Seconds.
So I spoke with Gary Robinson yesterday at the Craigsville PSD. They do have 4 generators on site that they had upgraded. They run from a 32 kilowatt to a 200 kilowatt.
Yeah, we've already discussed those.
There's an issue with those.
I went out there when I was talking to you all last year, they showed me one that they had, and it was an older generator that had already been rebuilt once. And I don't know about getting one of those like that.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't come at any cost or there's nothing on the hook for you guys, I don't see, new or old, as long as it serves its purpose and works is what I'm looking at. And the main reason I looked at that is we could go with a larger generator that would actually facilitate, that would provide power for the entire facility. That's more why I was looking at that and leaning in that direction.
Who's the guy that covers the Homeland generators in Craigsville?
Yeah. That's who actually we talked about, having him go out and give him a once over. Because he didn't think that there would be any issues or concerns. They are older, but they haven't been ran a lot. You know what I mean? They run through their monthly cycles. So I don't believe there's a lot of hours on them. They're just physically older.
Or if we can have them do that by the next meeting in 2 weeks.
He told me anytime we wanted to come down and take a look at it. I just spoke with him yesterday.
Okay.
They're down behind the sewer system.
Okay. I mean, if they're checked out, he does all of our towers and stuff. if he checks it out and says it's good, I mean, would you have any real objection to it? I mean,
No fee.
I mean, if it lasts you 10 years, I mean, that's
That's what
10
I'm
years
saying.
that we're not paying $12,000, and I respect that. I respect that.
Nothing else, it could last until you get the grant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then we could give our resource of our grants really go after.
So at that point,
funding on that.
then we could back up and provide some sort of financial assistance for the tie-in, maybe a lean-to shelter type thing, a weather barrier,
If you have to, because if it's PSD, it's probably already,
right, like mobile,
Yeah.
self-contained.
yeah, it's already probably
And
self-contained.
he said the large one, he knew just needed the tank cleaned out, the gas tank, then it's just from time.
Oh, yeah.
He said you could run a
Anything
hospital
US
with
said
that
like
thing.
that. In worst case, a tank's probably $1,000.
Right. But I'm like, just a once-over, air filter, fuel filter, plugs, whatever, if it's a diesel, nothing like that, but.
So what was the reasoning, I'm not picking on the vendor, but what was the reasoning that Alpha was bidding you a 50,000 or 50 kilowatt?
I don't know, I didn't get a hold of it when that was done,
Okay.
so, I was gonna go down there today.
Like, just what's available. They said that we had, Birch River, we had to change, which
Right.
wasn't 25s or something available.
He was supposed to got a hold of Donna yesterday, but he didn't.
Okay.
And I was gonna go down to their office down here and show him that and see if he had talked to them. And Donna wasn't feeling very good this morning, she got up, not running a little bit late, so.
Sure.
I can check on that down there and see what, if that's there and find.
Well, I'd recommend, then, I'll change my recommendation, but I mean, I'd like a once over by the next meeting. We gotta bring it into this. We gotta bring it into this.
If we go with the 24 KW,
That's an old one.
I realize
Yes.
that, but what I'm saying is, some of these aren't very clear that they're going to do the labor.
Sure.
So I think we should put out one, let's look at the ones Gary's talking about. Let's put out a standard bid of a 24 KW completely installed, counting the pad that has to be poured and things like that. 100% turnkey, and you're only bidding one thing. And then let everybody bid it again and be up to date. Because I think these are all over the place.
Yes. You're not comparing apples to
Yeah,
apples.
you're right, and nobody sees these, we just keep them under our wrap here. And in the meantime, we'll have those checked out. If you can get one bid from everybody on a 24 KW turnkey. In other words, you don't have to do anything but let them indicate that.
That one he has there, it's, the second one is for 14,000. Is it
Don't say anything.
No, it's.
Well, dollar wise, because.
Okay, it's,
But I see Tim Lust, looks like he's covered all the bases.
Yes.
So.
I think Alpha has two, but it's just such a size variance in the
The
generator.
bigger, well, that's,
Yeah.
they're equipment running the whole facility.
Yeah.
So let's do that. You get the bids on a 24 KW installed complete, we'll have those checked out, and we'll let you know.
Are those available?
And
Are
make,
those available?
Oh, yeah, and find out the.
make
availability.
sure they check these are available, the ones that are.
There's a year or two delay on some of those.
Yeah, just to make them do a little bit of groundwork on that.
See
That's a good point.
if they're available now or when they will have it.
Yes. And that'd be a part, and tell them just put it on the bid.
Okay.
What their expectation of availability would be.
Yeah, that's what you ran into at Birch River.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we actually had to spend more money and get a bigger
Well, we had to
size.
do a delay, yes, but the guy did give us
And
a
then-
bigger size because he couldn't get.
Yeah.
I'll
It
check
worked out, but
see
it was
what-
a situation. Yeah. No, I think that's a good recommendation,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Do you have any questions? You understand where we're at?
How soon do I'll get those as quick as I can, just for any time limits.
Our next meeting is.
Well, and I said the next meeting, but with the holidays and stuff, I don't know what these guys' turnaround times will be.
It's 2 weeks. You can get bids in 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
This thing, right?
Yeah. And you can get Richie to look at that.
So our next meeting will be, just as Commissioner Chapman was saying, I interrupted him, December 20th, in 2 weeks from today. So if you could get those bids, try and get at least 3. It's under the price range we have to advertise this, that, and the other, whatever, but we like to have at least 3.
One more question I was thinking of, what about that one that's Childers? Get one from them or just try to get one here in the county?
We have a preference on local, but if you have to go out of county to get the 3, it is what it is.
I know their building wide bid in there was $23,000.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'll talk to the guy that wrote that up,
Do you need these back to have their numbers and stuff?
if I can.
Yes.
And unless he did spell his out.
Yes.
That doesn't say anything about the path. That's one thing you got, you probably need to contact.
That's a good point, I never would have thought.
Well, if you notice the one checked on there, they can do the path.
So, Childers, Lusk, and Alpha was the three that you had. Let me just make sure I got them all back.
And Comfort Air. There's 4.
Is that what that is?
Look on the second page.
One of them
Oh,
is
okay.
their old bid and one of them.
I got you. Yeah. Yeah, if you could go ahead and contact all 4 of them there and everything, and do that, and we'll work on our end and
Okay.
get her done.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Do we need to discuss this?
Maybe just for public record, there's actually a vote or anything needed.
So for the public do you mind just discussing?
Well, I'm trying to give, actually, she sent an email, that's probably a
Okay,
bit better.
take your time, take your time.
Yeah.
And since it is just discussion, and let me look through this real quick. Are we not supposed to have the presentation opening on the engineer? Did you?
No, that's just what
See, I thought we had to wait till the meeting. I mean, they opened it this morning. Should we put on the record that we received all the RFPs?
If it's not on your, you can, but if it's not on
We
your
can't act
agenda,
on it. I mean, of course, yeah, we have to review them, but yeah, for the record, we will state that we did receive, I have 5, and I think you have some different ones over there. Are you sure? Because I don't have a ZM yet.
there is one.
What's that over there?
Okay, there's one.
Yes.
I didn't even see that.
Hand me that stack if you don't care. I don't know why they're spaced out.
Yeah. 5. Got Thrasher, Facility Perfection Group, WYK, ZMM, and Alpha Architects.
Craig doesn't, oh, you have that, okay. Okay, so we did receive, yes, I apologize, that was my fault.
No, you're good. Better be safe than sorry.
And so these are the request for proposals that we sent out for. This is for not totally encompassing, but potentially including the need of a potential second courtroom, exterior, interior renovations, assistance with the plumbing, assistance with potential elevator replacement, and other county facility upgrades that we potentially might have to be looking at here in the near future. And as Commissioner Chapman, or Commissioner Roberts mentioned, I'm going to say one more time, we received proposals from the Perfection Group of Scott Depot, West Virginia, the Thrasher Group of Bridgeport, West Virginia, WYK Associates of Clarksburg, West Virginia, ZMM, and they are Charleston, West Virginia, and Alpha Architects, Engineers, Design Consultants out of Morgantown and Martinsburg, West Virginia. So the commissioners will be tasked with reviewing these, and then we'll probably host interviews later on, but just to place that on the record.
All right. So we have some information from CADCA, which is the Community-Based Advocacy-Focused Data-Driven Coalition Building Association. And basically what that boils down to is we have 2 youth that will be going to our nation's capital to speak before their representatives and talk about some of the problems that the youth in our area are facing. And basically what they're trying to do is give the representatives some information to make some decisions on, and maybe some legislation and some things like that. And I think that the value of that comes firsthand directly from children who have been involved with the teen court program. So they have a direct insight into some of that. They've been participating in teen court for a while. The biggest thing at the bottom here is that will come, and I just read it. basically, we need to talk about, or just be aware of the teen court monies for food. Breakfast will be provided each morning by the facility, and they would just be buying lunch and dinner. So, then Bobby said they were looking for, some money set aside, they would spend all that, and then come back with the receipts and.
She asked how she would pay for it, and I told her we could probably just give her an advance out of the
Yes.
board, or however much she thinks it'll be,
Uh-huh.
and she'll bring the receipts, then we'll change back, and add something to it.
Right. And I think it's just mostly transparency is what we're looking at here, just so
Yes.
folks understand what's going on. And I think it's a great thing. I mean, if you can take two teams from our area and let them go on a national level, it's gonna do a lot for them. It's gonna bring leadership aspect to the program that they're involved in, and I think it's gonna give them, our national legislators insight into some of the issues that the kids are facing, and they're seeing it come out of the folks' mouth directly. So. That's all I've got.
That being said, is there any commissioners' comments for today's meeting?
I do have one I want to talk about. I talked about it for a little bit. I'll go really quick with it because we've had a long meeting here. Budget. So I want to actually look at the park and sit down. Since we're at the end of the year, I want to look at what it costs. Looks like the pool ran us about $21,000 last year, over what it generated. So I don't want to call it 21 in the hole, but that's what came out of pocket. I'd like to establish and work with the park board and establish a budget, monthly budget for the pool next year. And I'd actually like to establish a monthly budget for the park to work towards, just so we can see, the fundamentals of any business, to see where we're at and what we're working towards, and give Sally, the park manager, and then Mary, the pool manager, a budget to work towards. If it's a need and we go over, but at least they can see that it's like, hey, here's our goals. Sometimes you come under, sometimes you come over, but at least we've got something we're working with, and we're looking at something more than how business has always been done. So just kind of throw a little business aspect into that and do it as a collaborative team effort, and not set demands on somebody, but work with them to create a very simple budget, just maybe a monthly amount or a bi-weekly amount that they're working towards to try to keep things under. So
that's why you're the president.
Nah.
You're the man.
If you hated, man.
Commissioner Chapman.
No, I'm good.
Go ahead.
Probably say thank you for everybody's support on the Richwood Band going to DC. Gary's live video, we all had a pretty good time up there. Got to see the Capitol. We got a private tour of the Capitol. And so thanks for everybody's support and for the band boosters for the money they raised, and especially Mike Cox for what he put up.
Absolutely. A quick reminder that the Christmas lights in the park are going on. Everybody go through, drive through, vote for your favorite display. They will win some awards. They have Mayor's Choice, Public's Choice, Commissioner's Choice, and I think maybe a couple others, or maybe
second, third.
That's a good thing. A lot of community groups come together and do that. They've done it for some years now, and Commissioner Roberts has done a good job getting that to expand some more there. One thing I'd like to mention is appreciation to the city of Summersville for taking over the Veterans Day Parade here. Not a veteran, tried to be, but didn't work out, and that's okay. The one thing I would encourage people is next year, we all love the Potato Festival Parade, we all love Christmas Parade, but it would have been nice to see more people out for the Veterans Day Parade. And so I'm hopeful that next year, even if we can get involved somehow, some way, I'd just like to see some more community support for those that let us do what we do as commissioners and let us live where we do here in West Virginia.
And that's always people were saying, they were asking, like, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? And maybe just, I say more advertisement, it burns a lot of people, and it burns me sometimes, because the people were asking, like, up until the last couple of days, is there a Veterans Day Parade? So maybe we can make sure that we run it a couple times early in the paper, or do something like that for better advertisement. I think that would be our due diligence.
Now, don't get me wrong, the city of Summersville did great.
Yes. It's not a fault, because you could advertise in every media for 3 weeks and somebody still tell you that nothing's going to happen.
Yes, but we as a community need to go above and beyond for those who went above and beyond for us. But that's all I have. Is there a motion to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission, Wednesday, December 6, 2023, and it is 11:46 a.m.
Sound protest.
Motion's on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 All those against, the motion does carry.